Most people still have the same image of 3D printing in their heads, the one from a few years ago. Parts with visible layer lines, rough finish, something that looked more like a garage experiment than an actual product. That world is gone, and that's the first thing almost nobody talks about. But before we get into all of that, I'm Thomas and I have been working with 3D printing for years, and this channel is all about this world. So let's get into it. First thing, modern machines change everything. What you have heard about 3D printing might be completely outdated. For a long time, 3D printing had a well-deserved reputation for being complicated. You basically had to be a tech guy to use one. You had to level the bed by hand every single time before printing. Dial in the temperature manually. Hope the filament would stick to the build plate, and even then it would fail on you constantly. Then modern printers came along, automatic bed leveling, smart calibration, speeds that would have been impossible 5 years ago without sacrificing quality. The entry point changed completely. You don't need to understand electronics or mechanics or any of that to get started. The barrier dropped a lot, and what you can make today with an entry-level machine is nothing like you have seen before. And speaking of entry-level, a lot of people assume 3D printers cost a fortune, but you can get started with a solid machine for around $300. It is not expensive, out of reach gadget anymore. It's something a lot of people can actually afford. If you want to know which printer to buy when you're just starting out, drop a comment below. If enough people are interested, I'll make a video about it. So if someone tells you 3D printing is too complicated, ask them when was the last time they actually touched a printer, because the world they might be describing might not exist anymore. Second thing, you do not need to know how to 3D model to get started. This is one of the biggest mental blocks people create for themselves before buying a printer.
I don't know how to 3D model. Do I need to learn CAD first? I'm not that kind of person.
You don't need any of that to get started. There's an entire universe of ready-made models online created by designers, engineers, artists that you can just download, open in software and print. You can spend months printing great stuff without even creating a single file from scratch. The design side comes later when the curiosity kicks in, and it will almost always, but it doesn't have to come before you start. A platform I use and recommend for this is STLFlex. It's a library of models that are already optimized for printing, so you're not downloading something that looks great on screen but falls apart on the printer. The files were built and tested with actual printing in mind. Link in the description. Third thing, most problems are the printer's fault. This is one of the most frustrating things when you're just starting out. A print fails, the filament lifts off the bed, a layer separates halfway through, and the immediate reaction is the printer is garbage. But in the vast majority of cases, the problem isn't the printer, it's just a setting. So wrong temperature for that specific filament, or a dirty build plate with residue from a previous print, or maybe the speed is set too high for a model with a lot of details. The printer just follows instructions. If your instructions are wrong, it probably isn't going to print what you want. But that's some good news. A settings problem is something you can fix. You learn it once and don't make that mistake again. That's very different from having a broken machine. Before you blame the printer, check the settings. 9 times out of 10, that's where the answer is. And if this video has been useful so far, hit the like button. It really helps the channel. Subscribe too if you haven't already. Fourth thing, speed isn't always your friend. Modern printers are fast. There are machines out there today printing at 300, 400, 500 millimeters per second. It's generally impressive to watch, but printing everything at max speed can hurt your finish quality, reduce the strength of the parts, and mess with dimensional accuracy. Too much speed can cause the nozzle to not lay down filament properly through the curves, and it can create vibrations that show up as ripples on the surface of your print. A detailed part needs a much lower speed than a simple flat one. The difference in the final result is significant. Just because your printer can go fast doesn't mean every print should. Learn to dial in the speed for the type of part you're making. That alone will take your results to another level. Fifth thing, multicolor prints are stunning, but they take a long time. A really long time. If you ever seen a multicolor 3D print and thought, I want to make that, and you're not alone. Those results are generally impressive, but there is something almost nobody mentions alongside those photos: how long it actually took to get there. Multicolor printing with a filament switching system, which is what most printers use, creates something called purging. Every time the color changes, the printer has to push out the previous filament before it can start laying down the new one. Depending on the color and the model, that process wastes a lot of material and adds hours to the total print time. A part that would take 3 hours in a single color can take 14 hours with 4 colors. That's not an exaggeration. The good news is that newer machines already have a better system to reduce that waste, and you can work around it by printing the model in separate parts, each one in a different color, and assembling them afterwards. Depending on the design, is just a clean and sometimes even more practical way. So don't let that stop you. Just go in with the right expectation. If this video was helpful, drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments, do you already have a printer, or are you just still on the fence about buying one? I would love to hear what you think. See you in the next one.